I'm Caleb. Please like and subscribe.
Well, welcome back to another CryptoBROS
And a Holly Girl.
podcast.
The timing is there.
Yeah.
You guys nailed it. Round
We're
of
getting
applause.
real good, Holly.
Good job. Good job.
And the Doge. Just love the Doge. So
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Only
Yes.
good today.
that
Yeah,
makes me
yeah.
smile every time I see that dog.
Yeah. I like Doge for way different more reasons than Greg does. Greg just loves it. I like to move it around because it's so cheap. So, so guys, first off and foremost, I want to introduce our guest, and then we'll kind of get into the crypto talk. So we've got BERT with us. For those of you that
Yeah.
are from the community, you've seen him around, but he didn't wear his purple shirt.
Yeah.
But
No
welcome,
purple shirt.
No.
welcome to the podcast, BERT. We really appreciate you coming on. Like we talked about earlier, for those of the people that are watching that don't know, from time to time, we want to get some people from the community into the podcast. And when we were talking about it, there were a few people that were on all of our lists, and you were one of them, and you didn't hesitate, and here we are. So
Awesome.
welcome.
So excited to be on with you guys. Absolutely love what you guys are doing. So I love the community aspect. I love the free flow nature, super relaxed. Adding Holly is absolutely awesome.
Oh,
So you guys
Oh,
are
yeah.
really, really good for the community, honestly. Just before we get started or anything, just know you guys are really, really good for the community. You help out a lot of people. Just giving them another little trusted voice that they can listen to, and a different outlet from Twitter Spaces, which matters so much to be able to expand our community. So I absolutely love what you guys are doing.
Well,
Thank you.
we appreciate that, man, because we just, I've told the story before, but we don't know how to be anybody but ourselves. And so that's just what we do. And you couldn't be more right, though. Adding Holly to this thing was like the final piece of the puzzle.
Yeah,
And we didn't even know it until we filmed that first one just to have her as a guest. And literally it was a few hours, and we were like, we all just looked at each other like, we got to ask her if she wants to do this full time. And
Yeah.
she didn't hesitate. And how many podcasts is this with Holly? Is this the fifth one?
Fifth?
I think this is 5.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, so
Yeah.
on that note, couple housekeeping items real fast. So with that being said, we want to say thank you to the community, because we are approaching 10,000 views on our YouTube channel, which I know to some big time YouTube guys, that's not a big deal. But to 3 guys from Missouri, that is a big deal, and it doesn't happen without the people in the community. So we want to say thank you to those people. And just know that this whole thing is evolving. We don't know what it's going to turn out to be, and we're not trying to push it in a certain direction. So I just wanted to take the chance to say thanks. But also on that note, we have done some stuff to our channel so it makes it easier for people to find things. We've created playlists. So the HOLLITIVITY segment by itself will be coming out on Sundays. Of course, the podcast will come out Fridays, but the HOLLITIVITY segment will come out on Sundays. The Caleb's Choice segment will come out on Mondays, and the Taste Test segment will come out on Tuesdays. So if you don't necessarily like one, or it's not your favorite, or you only have time to watch one, you can still check it out. And this week we have our first blooper reel with Holly, and it's going to be coming out on Wednesday.
Let's go.
I have seen it,
Go.
and it is hilarious. There is singing, there is technical issues. It was also, a lot of this was filming when we were testing our new sound and our new room, and I don't think I knew all of it was being filmed.
Yeah.
It's only
I like the
about 8
secret
minutes
film
long,
sometimes.
but it is hilarious, and I can't wait for everybody to see it, man. It's going to be awesome. So
It's like filming in the wild, You
absolutely.
They don't know.
And we got BERT on today, but we have been so blessed with people reaching out to us, asking us to be on the podcast, that we don't want to announce the lineup. We're not trying to be super secretive, but we don't want to announce the lineups too far in advance, because people have lives, people have jobs, things happen. But I'm super stoked with the guests that we've got coming on for the next 5 to 6 weeks. And I don't think it's going to be very hard to fill the guest slot for the rest of this year and beyond, because we have some really awesome people that are asking to be on. So just stay tuned for that. But housekeeping items aside, let's get into some crypto talk. So I think we have to start with Grove, not just because Mindy was on last week, but they were in Dubai at the crypto conference. From everything I've seen, that thing went awesome for them. One, their booth looked awesome.
Yeah.
Like I
Oh my
wanted
gosh,
to be
so
there.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's not something that you come up with in an afternoon. That is something that they've been planning on for a really long time, and you could tell they took that serious, and it's awesome. I mean, and then they had the coffee booth, but was even better than that was every picture I saw as the conference was going on, there's people in that booth all over the place.
Every single time. It was full
Yeah.
from the very beginning. We were on we were on Spaces with Mindy when it was launching, right? When it started. And it was super late, and I don't even know, it was like 1 o'clock or 1:30 in the morning over here in California. And so we were on, and it was, you know how Mindy is, just super infectious just to listen to her talk, especially when she gets going in her own spaces. And she starts just flashing pictures and showing, and it's like full off the bat. Like they were just jacked full right off the bat, which was really cool.
It's almost like they came from the front door and went straight there. I mean, it was nuts, but
It was a really cool setup, though. Tell me this.
It was.
Oh, yeah.
It was a really, really cool setup. As somebody that does some of these trade shows for some you know, LED stuff or whatever, you know, I see some really cool setups all the time. This was on par with anything that I have seen at like NAB or Infocom or any of the big like LED kind of bright, you know, showy shows where they're showing big screens and all that. This was a step above that, right? Like they had like almost what am I looking for? Like a nature element to it, right? Because of the hydroponics.
Yeah.
Home tree.
Talk about adding.
And it looked like it could be used for a commercial shoot. You know, it looked like a studio. And
Agreed.
you know, people don't notice some of the little things that sometimes my brain focuses in on, but the curvature of the structures and things like that's top notch. Like people can build boxes, but when you start curving that stuff around and you start making it like it's a 360 room basically, I was like, wow, you know. And we had a great time with Mindy last week, and I couldn't be more hyped for them and that team and the way that all went down. And I think they won the DeFi of the conference award. Now I forgot what it was called.
I like that award if it is called that, though. Hey, look, that's why I went out this morning. I had to wake up at about 5:30 or 4:30 instead of 5:30 this morning. I had to hit the gym early just because I knew I was coming on with you guys on this podcast. And so I'm on video, and John is sitting there walking the red carpet just looking jacked. And so I'm like,
he is.
I got to get out here and like walk up a little bit. I got to like get up a little bit on the show, bro. Like I can't be like, I got to represent, man. John looks jacked.
Yeah.
My God, what a figure though. And I know that we laugh about all that stuff a lot. That stuff matters, man. Like he has it. And again, not to say the other thing, but just from the view from the top is just. I mean, he's clean, cool, calm, collected. You know, in shape. He has that fire and passion. Talk about a leader, man. And that whole team. That whole team has just they inspire confidence, right? It's just so awesome.
The perception. Even when you don't hear words, the perception of what you see matters so much. And with him, you see that. I mean, just in the makeup. I mean, he's got to be that guy when he walks in the door, demands everybody's attention. Just because you can see that in still shots of him, like, okay, yeah, that's somebody. You may not even know who he is, but you know, it's like, that guy's important. You know, and that's awesome for that project. And I think they're doing a fabulous job. You know. And their work ethic is, I don't want to say it's unmatched because there's a bunch of people in the DeFi space that are working their tails off. But, you know, I'm in a space on a Wednesday night. I'm ready to go to bed myself. It's early in Missouri. It's like 10 o'clock. And Mindy's talking about driving a U-Haul truck all night long to get to Florida for hurricane relief. And I'm thinking, I don't think there's any way I could do that, you know? And I forget how many hours she said it was going to be. And she's all pumped up and she's ready to go. And she did her thing. And the team did their thing on different time zones. And I was just like, wow, I don't think I could be more proud of what they did. and the whole community should be proud of what they did. And I think they've set themselves up pretty good. You know, we don't talk much about projects and what we hold, but I told some people on Twitter that inspired me to get to my Grove goal bag, and I finally got to that bag because it was like, I'm not waiting any longer. Not when it comes to this team and with the things that are happening. It's time to get there. So just super stoked with everything that went on with them, and getting to know Mindy, and hopefully that's part of what we do on our podcast is let people get to know these CEOs at a different level, that you can really root for that person and not just, and you have a real true vested interest because you know them a little bit level, you know them at a different level. So super stoked about all that too. So next thing I wanted to talk about was,
Hey, don't forget, Grove got listed on Hedilli.
that's right.
Oh, yeah.
I was just looking at
I
my,
don't even know if I'm saying it right, but it sounds
Bert
funny.
probably knows.
And it sounds fun, Hedilli.
Kadooey. I like it.
I like it. I like it.
yeah.
Top
So
five.
that's going to be huge too, because that was a top 5 exchange, I believe. So that's big. And if my memory serves me right, we're still waiting on another exchange announcement. So,
Yes.
which could pop at any time, you know.
Correct.
So that's awesome.
I think there's more coming on the back end of this stuff too.
Yeah.
Like, again, I try to stalk a lot of different spaces and just listen sometimes, especially the late night ones. And Mindy is notorious. Like, she doesn't ever slip, but she comes close a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. And so for those of us that kind of can have, I shouldn't say are in the know, I'm just saying for those of us that have been in this space for a while, right? So we know a lot of the history. When someone kind of slips like that or gets that close to it, some of us have been around long enough where you can kind of get an idea what they're talking about a little bit.
Fill in that blank. Yeah.
Right. And so, again, not like anyone's going to say anything, but I would never do any of that. But for me, it's just, I think big things are coming for Grove. I think big things are coming for Glow. Obviously, SafeMoon, we all know that and stuff, Near Protocol, BBTF. But those little partner projects, the other projects that we don't always hear as much about, I think there's some absolutely phenomenal things that are about to come forward from them to me, and Grove is right at the top of my list. So.
I couldn't agree more. And Bert, let me ask you this: do you think that's sooner or later? Not saying days or weeks or months, but sooner or later.
Yeah. So I don't. I've learned the hard way. Don't ever put a timeline on anything. Right.
Yep.
I learned from Mr. Caroni. We don't put timelines on things, and then everybody is happier. But I will say this: look, let's call crypto winter what it is, right? Crypto winner's crypto winter. We're in the middle of it. We're at the end of it. We're at the 3/4 way. Wherever we are, we're somewhere in crypto winter. We know it's going to eventually end. It ends every single year. It happens all the time.
Oh yeah.
We know it's going to end, and we are pretty confident, all of us, that at the end of this crypto winter, we're going to see a very substantial bull run. Now, how big it is, I don't know, but I know it's going to be something, right? Bags are going to 10x and stuff like that pretty easily, I believe. When that happens, I think is going to be largely dependent on a few different outside factors, right? I think it's going to be dependent on what the government is doing, some of those things, right? All of that stuff. But I also think that what we're seeing right now is we're seeing what am I looking for here? We're seeing a renaissance in the way that projects are handled in general, from the top down, right? And the bottom up. And that's the magic, right? Projects are being looked at from a CEO's perspective, but they're also being looked at from the community's perspective, right? Because the community has a very large hand in how these projects move forward. Just look at SafeMoon. So for me, when I look at that, I think there's some key factors that we need to see first. And when I start to see some of those things come into place, I think then we're looking at probably within 5 or 6 months from that we're going to start to really see a good upswing on that. I don't think personally, and this is just my personal opinion, not financial advice, obviously do your own research, but I don't think we're going to see any huge craziness like this for a lot of things. I mean, I think we'll see some launch stuff and we'll see some of those, but I just don't really believe we're going to see a lot of jam shots up. I think you're going to see these really steady, slow increases that are just going to start to go. And as a whole, it's going to be what I call the snowball effect. You're going to see little small increases, but since it's all virtually in the same ecosystem, as they all are just ticking up and ticking up and ticking up, people are going to catch notice as a whole. And that's when we're going to see really this huge shot up and all those kind of things. When that happens, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. I wish I could sit here and say, yeah, February and all that, or January and all that. But I know, right? It's so hard because I don't think we know a lot what's going on. The pandemic really screwed up a lot of stuff. It screwed up the entire cycle of what we're used to. So things are totally different. And then you got to throw, people like Don into the mix that have to come in and say, oh, by the way, I'm going to create these new projects that do these really ridiculous things that nobody can imagine how it's going to work.
Nobody's ever heard of or thought of.
So we can't even really extrapolate out what's actually going to happen because we don't have a clue, man.
Yeah, you don't have anything to compare it to.
Right.
But, you know, it's going to be crazy. We just don't really know. So when you add all those factors in, it's hard to put a time frame on it because Addict, Kevin says this all the time. We've never seen anything like this before. And I really mean it's the ecosystem. We've never seen anything like this. So now that we have this, I think the real question is that when crypto winter ends, what happens? Really, what do we do? How fast is it? Is it slow? Is it fast? I don't know. I mean, it's so hard to say. Personally, I think we have the slow tick up, but there's so many projects that are doing so many cool things that we really don't know the full scope of yet. It's hard to put a real time frame on that, though. So that being said, December, not financial advice.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Yeah.
I couldn't agree more with what you said there, though, because I do believe that it is going to be more of a steady incline than we've seen before. But I still keep seeing people say, show me your next, 1,000-time coin. And I'm like, those coins may do that, but what I see in the past is they also come down really fast. But the steady growth, if you're steadily growing, say 5% over 8 months, and then you have a 2-week period where it goes down 6%, you're still way up.
Right.
And so I think you're right. I also think, and I think this is kind of what you were alluding to, when this happens, you're going to see the cream rise to the top. Like you are going to see some projects fall off. It's just going to happen because some of those need that 100x in 2 weeks to get the capital behind it or the liquidity pulls up. And if that doesn't happen, they're not going to be around. You're going to see top-notch leadership take coins and communities to a different level. You're going to see communities push coins to a different level. And the byproduct of that is going to be some tokens and coins are just going to fall away. I don't think but I guess I should say, I think that's good for DeFi as a whole, though. Because if we have a black eye, it is, a rug pull here or a rug pull there, or this is a scam token or whatever it may be. And they're still coming out today. This isn't something that stopped during when the bull run ended.
Right.
It's still happening. So I couldn't agree with you more. Yeah.
Let me ask you guys a question. Let me ask all the four of you guys a question. So when we're looking at that stuff, right? When we're looking at the projects out there and all of those kind of things and stuff, for you guys, what do you guys feel about the 1,000x coins or that mindset or whatever, And then the secondary question I have to that, do you think that we need to start looking for a different term for DeFi rather than decentralized finance as a whole, right? Is it more like maybe a hybrid of something, right? I think people get caught up so much in DeFi and they think, no control, no nothing. We want it all ourselves. It's just us. But the centralized, I can't do that. I don't want my stuff on Coinbase. They control my stuff. So I always wonder, and again, I'm not trying to start anything, but I always wonder is given that notion, right? These 1,000x coins and rug pulls and all that stuff, do we need to maybe think of a new term for this, for a new term or a new something to wrap this in that's a little different now? Because is it truly DeFi anymore if it's not? Or has the spirit of DeFi maybe changed now to what it's supposed to be? Maybe it starts off with one thing and it has to grow and evolve too, which I think is very good as well. So what do you guys think about that?
I'll let somebody else go first.
I think that's what SafeMoon's kind of trying to do, trying to create an umbrella for like you said, the community, the ecosystem to evolve into something different where it's not just you got this DeFi coin, but everything's kind of working together, partnerships, and I think that it will be termed something different, and people will get confused with, oh, is that not DeFi? Well, kind of, but it's evolving.
Yeah.
You know, I think we're going to get to that point where people start questioning and wondering what's different about it, and the whole dynamic of everything will change. That's my perspective of it.
Holly, what do you
I
think?
agree.
Well, actually, Greg kind of stole what I was gonna say.
See, he says I do that to him all the time, so I had to let him go first.
Don't you guys check stuff in the chat during the talk? Don't you chat with each other and say what you're going to say? Come on.
Mm-mm.
No,
I know, right?
no, we're real.
No, we like
but
to step
I
on
will
each other's
actually
toes. Go ahead.
I'll answer your first question about what do I think about the 1000x coins coming out. They're very risky, and I feel like you do got to do your research and all that good stuff. But if it's something that you can make money off of, I am all for it. A lot of people, get married to these coins or tokens, and you're expected to hold it forever, and people come after you if you don't. Am I frozen? Oh.
No.
No.
You're talking about Greg.
Yeah,
You're
Greg.
talking about Greg, so I had to
Hold
pat
on
him.
forever.
Well, and the thing is it's okay to hold it if it's something you truly believe in. That's
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, yeah.
There it
But
is.
what's not okay is to, go after the people who don't want to hold it, that do want to flip it and do want to make money. So, if the 1000x token is something that I want to invest in to make money, I'm going to do it. If it's something I want to invest in to hold, I'm going to do it.
Mhm.
So,
Right.
I mean, it just kind of varies from person to person, but we all have to, as a community, as, just people as a whole, we need to stop bashing people for doing what they want to do with these 1000x
Yeah.
coins.
Yeah.
That's just really where my opinion lies on that.
Yeah, and to take that a step further, we just saw that with Mere Protocol BTC, where people are like, why are you selling? Well, the people that bought in at 2.8 cents, or I think is what it launched at, and it got up to 1,600% up, depending on how much money they put into it, they had a chance to make some money. That's totally their call. I have no issues with that. And it's good for the ecosystem, because now you're going to get reflections on that, and we need money moving. If everybody just bought into certain coins and never did another thing, those are going to end up dying because they're not going to move. So I'm with you, Molly, 100%.
With these mere protocols that are coming out, like, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I got into the BTC mere MP, and that was not one that I was like, okay, this is the one, because I am more of a B&B type of girl. I know, there's people have their opinions, but I am. And so I did buy into it. I actually made some profit. I sold out so that I can buy into B&B. But that is my opinion, because I think B&B for me is going to be beneficial, because everything I buy is with B&B. Therefore, my reflections are going to be able to sell those and put them into other projects if I want to.
It just keeps the ecosystem going.
That's exactly what it is. And people are like, well, do you feel bad that, because it's Gotti? And I'm like, I love Gotti. But no, because I made some money, but I'm putting it right back into another part of his project. So I don't feel bad about it.
But even if you didn't, Holly, the first thing everybody needs to remember is it's your money. You can do with it what you want.
Yeah.
And if you think you're going to invest in any coin out there ever that no one sells, you are in the wrong realm here. Like, that's not going to happen.
No, I'm most excited for BNB and XRP. And I've said that from the very beginning. Those are the two I'm really going to, really look into. Those are my two. I just did BTC because I could. Okay, like I got in. I was not one of the lucky ones that got in at no 2 cents. Hell, I mean I got in at 16 cents. However, I still made money off of it.
Yeah.
No, and that's Holly. We haven't even talked about this, but BNB and XRP were the two I was stoked about too. It just so happens it sounds like they're the next two coming out. So I also believe there's a lot of people that are more. I see him zipping his lips. I also believe there's more people.
Where I will slowly disappear as you guys start to talk time. We start to get into an area that that you're just gonna all of a sudden just see. It's just gonna go like this. It's just gonna be all. So when MP is going to do this, then you're just going to see this happen.
Fades to black.
Hey, it wouldn't be the first time Don Bailey actually put us on black. So it was like, I'll see you guys later.
Yeah, he did. He did.
But, I don't think you're the only one. So is there going to be profits to be made on the BNB Mirror protocol? Absolutely. Will people take them? Absolutely. Will some people not sell? Absolutely. And it's all okay. But to jump on one another for that, one, you have the choice what you do with your money. You also have the choice to tell people what you do with your money. If you don't tell them, they don't know.
100%.
But
Yeah.
if you do decide to choose to do that, I will never understand why people get upset with what you do with your money. I just never will.
I'll say this. I understand. I do. I understand why people get upset. Like I do understand. Like I get why people get upset, and I totally understand the mindset. Because it's a community thing, and we believe one thing, and we really get so caught up in our own beliefs that sometimes we forget that there's a bigger picture at play sometimes,
Sure.
I'm not that guy, right? Like I'm the opposite of Holly, right? Like I buy everything. I will buy every single bag, every single coin. I will put $30 like Don did into every single thing I can, and I will hold some stuff and I'll sell other stuff. I mean, I think it gets a little ridiculous. I don't listen to that noise of it, that side of the business. I don't really listen to that sometimes, because for me, I think, and I've talked about this on Spaces so many times, but I think that we get so caught up in what's going on and we forget. Guys, the only way this works is if shit is bought in. I'm sorry. The only way this works is if stuff is bought and sold. That's it. If stuff gets bought and sold, we'll cut that out in post.
Good.
Tell
us how you really feel.
I was going to say, you won't be the first person. Holly's actually beat you to it.
But I think the only way that the ecosystem works is if crypto is bought and crypto is sold, and crypto is traded and crypto is moved, and that's the way it works. And it doesn't really matter what it is. It has to be bought and sold for it to work. Now, some tokens are more advantageous. Some coins are more advantageous to do that than another, right? Probably don't really want to spend a whole lot of time trading and moving BBTF. At least I wouldn't. Probably are going to be in a pretty bad position if you tried to trade a token with 32% tax, total in and out total. I mean, that's probably not going to help you too much unless it goes up really high. But hey, your choice. If you want to, I got to catch myself with what I almost said there. If you want to, I almost made a metaphor reference that I don't want to make on this because
we can always edit. So.
But if you want to do that and that's your jam, hey, more power to you. I have no issue with that kind of stuff. I'm all down for that stuff. I think my biggest thing, and where I wonder, and I don't, again, please understand, anyone listening to this podcast, that there's no part of what I'm saying is putting values on good or bad on this stuff. I wonder though sometimes on and I hate saying this because I know a lot of people are going to come after me, but when we're in the degen side of things and we're really talking about the degen plays and stuff, I do it also. I did it for a while. I how can I say this good? Let's say it like this. I made the decision, just like Holly just said, I made the personal decision for myself, nobody else. Like nobody else do I make that decision for. Please, by all means. But I made the personal decision for myself to say I'm not investing in that stuff anymore. Like I'm not going to do that anymore because for me, I feel like it's the dark side of crypto that we can all make money on, which is awesome. And if you guys want to do that, I mean, that's awesome for you guys. But I had to make a decision for myself, kind of like, I could leave the litter on the ground because what does it matter? I mean, it's one piece of litter in a world of billions of people, but you're not going to change the world with picking up one piece of litter, but can you? And so for me, that's how I look at it, is like, yes, I understand. Like there's a lot of people out there that can make a lot of money, and I've made a lot of money on some of those plays in the past, and not just in crypto, right? There's other avenues to do this. I talk about them all the time. There's projects, there's Forex projects, there's guys, go on Facebook.
Stocks. Penny stocks. That's where I made my initial money. Is penny stocks.
So penny stocks. There's affiliate marketing. There's crypto arbitrage program. I can go on and on. There's literally hundreds of ways. just DM me, and I'll give you 10 ways tomorrow
Yeah.
that you can go out and take $500 and turn it into 10 grand. You can also take $500 and lose that money too.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can also take $500, over leverage yourself, and be out $500,000 pretty quickly, by the way.
Yes.
So my point is like, it all is out there. And I've done it for a long time. I've been a part of those communities, positive and negative, right? And I've made those decisions to sit there and say, ah, man, I know this is not going to go well. They're going to do it. And then I got involved and I made a whole bunch of money. Or I've done the other way too, you know, threw 8 grand or 9 grand into COTPS because I was like, daily arbitrage, I'm going to make 3%. All I have to do is punch a button. I can put a script on that and I can have it operate on my computer automatically all day. I never even have to look. And at the end of every day, I'm making a max of 3%. Boom, I'm golden, baby. Every single day, just clearing money. And then they pulled it.
Mm-hmm.
And I lost at the time, got 9 grand, but at the time there was over $63,000 in that account that I lost. And so I've done those things before. And it was really, that was the one for me. That single one was the one where I said, you know what, I'm not doing this stuff anymore, man. I'm not going to invest in these things. I started going into spaces and I started just hearing this, and I'm like, maybe I can make a difference by just saying I'm not participating anymore.
Yeah.
And maybe if enough people don't participate, then those things won't be able to catch fire and go. And man, I know I hate saying that because I love people that can make money, and there's some people that have made life-changing money doing that, which is awesome, and I applaud them, and that's really, really cool. But for me, I had to make that decision for myself to say, you know, I don't agree with what let's say this. How about I say it this way? I don't agree with what 90% of those projects aim to do. The 10% of them, I love them, and it's so awesome that they're the good ones. Mm-hmm. But the 90% bother me so much, and I personally can't be involved in it anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it made me feel dirty doing those things anymore. And so that's why I had to go out. That being said, you know, and I've done it before. I've been on spaces and been all, DJ, you know, it got to be all this stuff. I've done all that. But, you know, like, for me, like, I'm like, I feel like a hypocrite. You know what I mean? I feel like a hypocrite growing in, but then on the back end, I have no right, say anything to tell anyone what they're doing. Mm-hmm. I made a decision on something I saw. Who the hell am I? Am I God? Am I the law? Am I the regulators? No, I'm a nobody. I'm some joke guy here in California that's done a couple of things, never done anything. And I made a decision, but I have no right to tell anyone else how to invest their money. If you want to do that, great. You know, it's going to be up to, and this is really where I fall on these things. Like, I can set my standards on what I'm going to do, but I don't get to say what somebody else is going to do. So until somebody from high comes down and says, that's it, this stuff's not happening anymore, that's when then I will sit there and say, okay, now legally we can't do this stuff anymore, so let's stop. Yeah. But until that happens, like, who am I to say what's right or wrong? How do I know that the next big technology thing isn't going to come from one of those degen plays? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know that. Mm-hmm. So it's really, I think that's where we get into the really gray area of crypto, when we get into, you know, the old degen mindset, and then we look at it like it's just, and I know I've done it too, but we look at it like degens, bad, negative, you know, and all that. And it's like, that's not always true either. Like, right?
Yeah.
Chris is degen through and through, bro. And do we not like Metacaptain? I mean, do we not like, he's amazing. He's like one of the best people in the space.
He's so smart.
He's so smart, but he's a good person, dude. He's a really, 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 I cannot say enough reallys, good person. So do we want to, he's degen too. So it's that's the really gray area where I and maybe it's me, I have a really hard time. I'm like Holly, I try to be positive all the time. So I have a really hard time sitting there and saying anything is absolutely 100% bad. I just try to stay stuff from my own personal point of view and my own stuff. And I'm like Holly, I'm like anyone else. I'll definitely tell you my opinion for sure, 100%. But I will always, and I may get passionate about it. I may say stuff that's very passionate, but I will always try to catch myself at the end and say, but guys, that's my opinion, and who the heck am I? I don't know better. I'm a really passionate guy, but that's just passion. I'm not
That's good.
You know?
Yeah.
But I think there's something to be said too on, at the end of the day, whatever you do, whether we're talking about crypto or how you live your life or how you make your money or whatever, can you sleep at night? you know, because there are certain times where even getting involved in something that maybe I didn't realize was shady until after the fact, and then I was like, like I don't really feel good about this. I'm getting out of it, you know. But if Greg decided he wanted to do it, if he asked me my opinion, I will give it to him. But at the end of the day, it's his decision. Now, I love Greg like a brother, so if it was really bad, I would really spend some time trying to talk him out of it.
Right.
But you understand what I'm saying. There are people that can do things that I can't do and still sleep at night. Whereas
100%.
I'm the guy that would sit there all night long worrying about it, so I stay out of it. That's just me. I don't mess with it.
That is such a good thing, though, Josh. You just hit that so important. There are certain things that you will do that you won't do that other people will, and that single act doesn't mean that it's a bad or good thing, right? I mean, and we get caught up in that sometimes.
And that doesn't mean
that you don't, I do, so it's bad.
And that doesn't mean I have to hate you.
Right.
You know what I mean? It doesn't mean we have to be mortal enemies. We can still have civil conversations. And we're losing a little bit of that in our civilization, unfortunately, I believe. Don't mean to get on a soapbox, but...
Dude, I could go off on that so much. Look, all of us from 30 to 60 years old, I've literally done stuff on this. 30 to 60 have been raised with two things in mind that we don't talk about. What are the two things we are not allowed to talk about? Politics and religion, right?
Yeah.
What are the two things right now in society that nobody can come to terms on, that everybody has a problem with?
Those two things.
Politics, both sides. Religion,
because nobody's talked about it.
Nobody knows how to talk about it, so we never talked about it for the last 25 years. You would start a conversation, and what happens? We don't talk about politics.
So
now what happens? You can't talk to I'll be the first one. I can be a diehard Democrat, liberal, GOP, whatever I am. And it is impossible sometimes for people to talk to the other side of the aisle because we haven't learned how to do that. We never had to. We started conversation. It was like, And so
because they put up a wall.
Well, I heard somebody say this one time. This isn't my original thought, but conversations used to start with "I feel," and then there was a conversation. Now that's how conversations end.
Yeah.
Once you say, "Well, I feel this way," you can't talk about it anymore.
That's it.
And we're losing something in society. Not to get crazy over into that conversation, but that's why this podcast is set up the way it is, so that even if you and I, Bert, don't agree on something, we can still have a conversation about it, and we can still maybe educate people on it, or maybe it's just strictly entertainment. I don't know. But we are, at the end of the day...
somewhere in the middle, though. That's
I don't know how I feel.
Agreed. But at the end of the day, we're all human, and we can have conversation.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. So...
Well, I feel like if Caleb sells all his Doge, we can't be friends.
That's right.
Caleb's going to go sell right now. Let's break.
Wow.
He wants out.
A test.
Family.
So the last
I missed
thing
out on all that. I missed out on all of that stuff, bro. I did not have the appetite at the point. I was so negative on everything when, God, it was really Doge, right? Doge was really the first meme, I think. I mean, I know people say that, but I'm really trying to think back. I think Doge was really the first big one. Correct me if I'm wrong.
It was the first big one when it came to everyone knowing about it.
That's
had
right.
Nothing to do with
Right.
crypto.
It was there before everybody knew about it. So.
Yeah. I mean, if you really got into Doge early, you could have made a lot of money. You still could cash out today and make a lot of money.
I mean, it was a joke to begin with.
It was a joke.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Somebody's smiling on the other screen.
I'm proud of my Doge.
Yeah.
I'm
You
proud
did
of it.
awesome, though. But I missed out on all of those things. I was so crazy into institutional trading at that point and Forex. And I was so heavy into that stuff that anything outside of let's just call it what it is, anything outside of the blue chips of that time, like I didn't want to have anything to do with any of those things because I thought it was all garbage and all that kind of stuff. And because I was so deep into Forex that I had kind of stepped outside of crypto a little bit. And so I didn't catch any of those waves or any of that stuff because I was so heavy into those other things. But my friends all went crazy on that stuff and made a ton of money on a bunch of different on those pumps. So
see, I don't like Doge because of that. I like Doge because it was a joke, but technically it's a great network.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it really, and that's why Elon Musk loves it so much. There's more to it than just a meme, but it also brought crypto to the forefront
Right.
and
That's
brought
why I
it
like it.
up. That was the good thing about Doge. Not necessarily, oh, everybody made money on it, but it made crypto a thing that everybody looked at.
It opened the door for people to take a look beyond what Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? Everyone had heard of Bitcoin, maybe Ethereum, but nothing else. Maybe you heard of XRP because it was in the news and the lawsuits or whatever. But the rest of it was all I didn't involve in crypto. But when Doge hit, everybody knew about Doge, and everybody wanted to. I know Doge, that meme coin or the dog or whatever. They may not have known anything, but they at least knew Doge was crypto.
Oh yeah,
True,
grandma
true.
and grandpa and everybody.
And if everybody puts $100 into a project, that thing skyrockets pretty fast. So the last thing crypto related here, and then we're going to get into more about you, Bert, because I think people that have watched so far can tell that this is good conversation. And so I want to talk more personal stuff, not just crypto. But so we had the BNB hack that just happened. I don't know all the details on it, and I don't want to get into all the technical side of it, but it shows us that there is still security that needs to be implemented. And then the next thing I see is hashtag safemoon orbital shield. So could the timing be more perfect, I guess, is my question.
It's a setup. They set it up. That's why CP was talking to John. No,
That's what he said.
Yes, inside job.
Yeah, he goes, it has to be an inside job. I was like,
thinking
I don't know that's an inside job, but it sure does bring a lot more eyes to the orbital shield. And, anytime something like that happens and we laugh about it, I always try to remember that somebody lost money. Like, it's a bad deal somewhere for someone. But every time we fix these problems, I feel like we're getting to the next level of the DeFi or whatever it needs to be called now, because you were right earlier and I never did address it. It's evolving. It's turning into something else. I'm just not the guy that can name it. So you don't want me to name it. But things like that come to the forefront. We see that there's already things in process that are working towards fixing those sort of things. And SafeMoon might be at the front of that. They may not be. I don't know. I can't read everything about every technology out there. But you have anything to add to that, Bert? Because I know you're pretty smart when it comes to that sort of stuff.
I would say this. I've been pretty deep into kind of trying to find out what went on and just listening to guys. I am not, by no shape and imagination, am I Don or Brian or Conjuroni or any of the guys, Crypto James, any of the guys that can break these things down on the blockchain. But myself, when I look at this as more of the, endemic problem that we have with crypto that everyone knows about, hacks and all those kind of things. But I tend to look at it like you did, Josh. I try to see the positive side and try to say, look, there's bigger things at play here going on. There's other things that I think behind the scenes that we don't know about. Things like orbital shield and some of that stuff will obviously help. And I hate to say that things like this are necessary, because they're not. They're horrible when they happen. But when things like this happen, it's like Don said this morning, it's the reaction to those things. How do we as a company, or how does finance as a company react to that stuff?
Right.
That's where that's really where it happens. They reacted so fast. They reacted so well. I don't know what the final numbers were, but I know we were up at $566 million at some point, and then I think that's come down now to something around like 63 million or something.
Yeah, they were able to freeze some of it, but I don't know the final numbers either. So
yeah, they froze 7 million initially, I think, and then they were able to do. There's a whole bunch of other stuff going on, I think, there. But my point is that the reaction to me is really what mattered. They were able to react fast, and they should be applauded for that. Because look, this stuff happens in every sector of life. If you don't think this stuff is happening at banks and all that stuff all the time, it absolutely is. Every single day there's penetration testing going on that is not not something that Chase hired. There's people trying to penetrate their systems every day, and they probably do.
And you just don't hear about it.
Correct. We just never hear about those things. So these things are necessary to move the space forward. I feel so sorry for anyone that was affected by, you know, that loss, whether it was all the way up to CZ and all the way down to the developers at Binance, to people that may have lost money if it was customer money, although I think that was something like the Treasury wallet or
I think so too.
Or what do they call it? It's not the Treasury. What do they call it? It has a name and I can't remember. But anyway.
If you wouldn't have asked me, I could have told you.
I know, right?
We were just talking about it.
Yeah, we were just talking about it. Now I can't remember what it's called.
I know, but anyway, so I think there is some positives to be taken out of this. On the SafeMoon side, I will say this: I absolutely think that Orbital Shield. Well, Don said it this morning, right? There is a component to Orbital Shield that absolutely would have helped this. So I think that's coming. You know, I think they'll license that out, and I mean, look, you're talking about the people, the Sprags that handled all the post 9/11 stuff,
right?
And how do I say this? Let's just say I know who they are. Okay. I can just say that. Let's just say I know who they are. You guys know I said earlier on where you know who I used to work for and all that stuff. So you guys at least I have heard, I know who they are. So that's a big deal. I'm a nobody, and so it's going to make a difference in this space. Security. And when it's not security again. And then at the very last second, when you are absolutely 100% ready to go, you stop, pick up the phone, call Lete, and make sure everything is still okay. And then you go forward, because we literally can't have enough security in this space.
No, but I also think that's why SafeMoon and the whole way that they're releasing things is the order that they're doing it is so important, and people are starting to get impatient. I get that part too, but it's like you could do all the most wonderful things in the world, but if you don't have that security piece figured out and it gets hammered, then you lose trust, you lose investors, and then you're starting basically all over again. If you can even pick up the pieces,
or you lose your business, guys. Let's not act like this is just a loss of confidence, right? A badass hack, SafeMoon or anybody is done. Done. If it's bad enough, if BBTF, if Don had not been able to do what he did on that day, I'm not saying they're done. I'm not saying that, but that's a huge blow. I don't have that information, so I don't know what would have happened in stuff. But you know, they say the point is that if it's a bad enough hack, that you're done. This isn't nothing at this level anyway, SafeMoon-ish level of where we are in DeFi. I don't know of any project that's going to be able to absorb a blow like, say, if you're Chase. None of them is JP Morgan Chase or Wells Fargo or any of those things. They can absorb a $50 million loss and say, oh, crap, we got hit. If you're SafeMoon, somebody can't come in and take 50 million from you or whatever it is, and then they're going to be okay. They're not. They're going to be done. So you have to have that security set, ready to go, completed, just nails, because now they're coming. They're coming. They are 100% coming. I tell you this with 100% certainty. Look what happened to Binance. They are waiting. There is some fool sitting in his mom's freaking basement somewhere in World of Warcraft, talking to somebody saying, I can't wait till SafeMoon comes out and then we're going to get them. I'm telling you, he's sitting there. He's waiting. They're waiting. And as soon as it comes out, they're going to and try to knock everything out and code their way and try to hack their way in. So they have to be ready to go.
And so that should give us confidence. And, you know, and I think it does for the most part, but I'm as stoked for SafeMoon now as I was the first time I bought in for it, however long ago that was. I can't even remember. Year and a half. I don't even remember what year it was. It was about a month after it launched. Is that when we got in?
21.
Not long after.
21? Okay,
21.
So it's been a while. But so it's I'm with you 100% on that. But I love the talk, Bert, but I want to talk a little bit about you, okay? And then we're going to get into some even more fun stuff and taste tests that you don't know what we're eating yet, and some questions and HOLLITIVITY segment. But
I appreciate you staying away from Mere Protocol. Thank you.
Okay, but I'm going to skip some of these questions that I have written down because I feel like we've answered some of them in the last few the last few, just in the crypto talk. So first off, explain to the people out there that don't know what your shirt means.
All right, so guys, this is Hook. Let me do this to even it out. There's Hook. So Hook is a wrestler for AEW. He's another former wrestler. His name is Taz. It's his son. So Taz was part of ECW back in the day.
Yeah.
Y'all know
Taz Mission
Championship Wrestling out of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
They were hardcore, and they kind of changed the wrestling landscape for everybody. The ECW led into the heart of the Attitude Era back in the 90s. So everybody knows with The Rock and Stone Cold, and can you smell what The Rock is cooking, and glass breaking, and the Dudley Boys and all that stuff. ECW helped kick that off along with WCW, and then and so Taz was a huge figure back then, and his son Hook, who played lacrosse actually, and is a phenomenal athlete. He played lacrosse in college. He has now moved on to become a wrestler, and has just one of the dopest gimmicks going right now. Really cool look, really fresh, kind of neat little way he comes in. He comes into Action Bronson, so it's kind of cool.
So you know a lot about Hook. Do you know him personally?
I do not know him personally.
Okay.
I don't know him personally. My days in the industry ended long ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Okay.
So I used to, in another life, I used to work in the industry a little bit. So yes, I worked locally here, and then I did some other stuff. But
behind the scenes, or did you ever get in the ring?
So behind the scenes stuff, and then some other things. There's other things I did. So I keep that a little bit more under wraps, but I'm sure there's arduous people out there that can find stuff.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Well, we'll tell you that.
But nothing of note. So I was more a fan than anything else that just got a chance to do some things for a few years. So
that's cool.
I had a good voice. Let's just say I had a good voice, so I was able to do some ring stuff as well, announcing. I did some color play-by-play. I did some local commercial spots for some of the local wrestling stuff here in California and things like that. But that's 25 years ago, 20 years ago, whatever it was.
Wow.
Nice.
Cool. No, you're talking to three people, and I don't actually know if Holly is a wrestling fan or not. We've never had that conversation. But Caleb and I used to watch Saturday Main Event, and we'd stay up late and watch that when we were just little guys. When Caleb wasn't 6'8".
I wasn't even born.
Yeah, Greg wasn't even born. So
I think I watched wrestling. I mean, my brother was really into it when we were little, back in Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage days.
80s.
But it was WWF back then.
Yep.
So yeah, I remember all of that, and they, my dad and my brother used to go to the WWF events. And he has autographs from some of the wrestlers, but I personally never really got into it. However, I like the WWE, and because I watch a show. And it's the Bellas, Toto Bellas.
Oh
And so I do watch the girls like that. I mean,
But you see some of the wrestlers. You saw John on there. John Moxley on there.
Cena.
Yeah.
And Cena was on there.
Yeah, I mean, they're all part of that show, but I mean, to actually watch it on TV as an event, no, I don't. I just watch the drama reality.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a wrestling related question real fast. Are you super stoked with the ownership change, or not the ownership, but the role change with Triple H taking over?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay.
I know. So I stay as positive, like I told you guys earlier, as I possibly can. I really try to craft what I say on Twitter like that. There's a million. I mean, shit. If anyone hacked into my Twitter or whatever, there's probably 1,800 old messages that I almost sent and then didn't, and stuff like that. But I really try to craft my Twitter to be as positive as possible. So even some of the wrestling stuff that I want to post, and stuff like I go back and forth with Thunder sometimes and everything like that or whatever. And I've stopped doing that, even with Thunder Rosa and all that stuff with some of the people that follow me on Twitter and the wrestlers and all that. But because some of it can get negative sometimes, because I get passionate about it, and stuff. I'll get pissed at, I'll get pissed, just as pissed at Charlotte Flair winning her 714th stupid time.
Yes, agreed.
But I will say I am very opinionated when it comes to wrestling. It was my point on that. So my opinion on that is 100%. how can I say this? I am a fan of what Vince was able to do for the industry. 1,000,000%. Without Vince McMahon, there absolutely is no wrestling today as we know it. It just is a fact. I don't care what anyone wants to say.
100% true.
You know,
I
if you're
agree.
a territory guy, if you're in your 50s and you're a territory guy from the South, you know, you cannot deny that him, you know, buying, you know, Georgia South and all these other places wasn't the right move for wrestling to be able to push it into the 21st century. So that being said, I love Vince McMahon from that standpoint, right? From what he was able to do for the industry that I absolutely love and adore, that I think is one of the best forms of entertainment in the world, that I think personally has the most hardcore, best athletes anywhere in the sport. And I'm a football guy and all that, but I think people have no idea what wrestlers go through, not even a clue. But I don't like the man personally for who he is and what he did, and I like him even less now, knowing, you know, the BS, probably sexist kind of stuff that went on with all the NDAs and all the bullshit, you know, and stuff, and
which people probably always assumed, but now they know.
Correct.
You know,
and so that really, really, really bothers me, because it ruins my ability to even enjoy what I watch when I go back and watch Stone Cold and him go at it, which to me is the single greatest rivalry in the history of wrestling.
Oh yeah.
Boston versus Vince McMahon.
That's what I grew up through.
Yeah, everybody, right? I don't care who you are. You knew that battle, because it's like, yeah, I want to fight my boss too and all that. So everything he did, everything he's done ruined that for me. So for me, seeing Hunter, you know, get a chance to run it, and seeing Paul really get to take his vision and push it forward. To me, it's the right move. It's already shown through in what we've seen on television.
Sure has.
Some of the moves that he's made creatively have already made a huge difference. And so I think that it's the right move for the industry. And if nothing else, it doesn't allow AEW to stagnate, right? AEW is not going to be able to stagnate, because Tony and those guys are going to have to push, because now Triple H is coming. And so Paul is absolutely coming 100%. The pissant comment that he made at the Hall of Fame and all that stuff and blah, 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 it is 100. That is him coming 100% now. Now he's in control, and he's made a lot of really good changes. I'm super stoked for what we've seen on WWE programming in general. I love the direction it's going. I think it's just only going to get better from here. And I really think that, you know, if you are even a casual wrestling fan from the past, tune in to Wednesday nights and Monday nights and Friday nights, because things are about to ramp up like you have not seen since, you know, the late 90s, early 2000s, or even, you know, the 11 through 13 with Punk, right? So what we got to see 11 through 13 with CM Punk. And so you're about to see that same kind of renaissance in wrestling, where everybody is going to be talking about a storyline, and it's coming. There's a storyline out there that's going to hit, that's coming, that's going to catch on, that somebody's going to be there, that Holly is going to hear about and stuff, you know? And so it's absolutely going to happen.
And they just hired somebody from that had interactions with Marvel, I believe. That his whole title, if I remember correctly, is for long-term storytelling. Long-term creative development. There you go. Yeah. Which is what has been missing for the last, I don't know, 2 decades, however long you want to say, a decade.
The only time they long-term story told was when they were forced to, right?
Yeah.
So when we, the fans, said, screw you, Daniel Bryan is our guy, that he had to tell that story. He had to tell that story. When we said, screw you, Vince, Kofi is our guy, I get goosebumps from the Kofi story.
Oh, yeah.
He had to tell us that story about Kofi Kingston. And look what happened. It caught fire. It went nuts. It was on ESPN and every local news broadcast. Why? Because people enjoy that part of wrestling. They like the revelry. They like the positivity. They like the cool moments. It's something they can talk about and highlight. And they're larger than life figures, all those things. So it's one of the things that I really, really love about wrestling. And I'm really excited, hopefully, to start to see some more of that. Look, the best story in wrestling right now is what? The Bloodline, right? It is the best story in wrestling going. I mean, it has gone on for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
I have been as anti-Roman at cerertain points as everybody.
Man, yes.
But dude, when it's good, it is so good.
Yeah.
If you watch that Sami Zayn getting his shirt scene, if you watch that segment and it did not affect you emotionally, there's something wrong with you. Whether you're a wrestling fan or not, if that didn't pull at your heartstrings and take you on the roller coaster where you were just sure as hell that Roman was
good job.
There you go. He was about to kick Sammy in his proverbial jujubes.
Yeah.
And then he does it and he makes him an honorary oos.
Yeah.
I mean, my God. It is the best story going. And listen to this. How amazing is that going to be when Sammy turns, or when they turn on Sammy, because Jay's already doing it.
Oh, yeah.
So when they turn on Sammy and turn Sammy back into one of the biggest faces ever, and we get to hear the that place, when he turns face and his old entrance theme pops, that place is gonna pop like no other when that happens.
You're not wrong.
That is what I love about wrestling.
Yeah.
So, so I could talk to you about wrestling for, I don't know, an entire weekend.
Yeah, you could.
But we don't have that much time. So I want to ask you one last question about when it comes to that. Who's taking the belt off Roman?
Cody.
Okay. I think that's a solid answer.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, it's got to be Cody. Like, there's a million people. You can make an argument for just about everybody. You can build an argument from everyone from Austin Theory to Randy Orton, right? There's a way to build an argument for anyone. For me,
or Bray Wyatt.
Bray Wyatt, I think, but Bray doesn't need a title, right? Like Bray doesn't need a title.
No.
Yeah.
And so for me, you brought him over. It was everything you wanted it to be. You gave him everything that he wanted, and it worked. It worked so well. And then Cody, being Cody, made it work times a million, right? With the match and the huge bruise and the whole thing.
Gained so much respect for him.
So much respect.
Yeah.
And so for me, you have it. It's literally gifted to you on a platter when he comes back. You go in, you have him take the belt off Roman before WrestleMania. And the story leading into WrestleMania is The Rock and Roman for who is the true head of the table. And that absolutely cannot have a belt attached to it.
Yeah,
if Roman has the belt leading into WrestleMania against The Rock, it ruins that whole story because it takes away any chance that you can even for 1 minute suspend disbelief about the outcome. Because you know for a fact that when it's all said and done, there's no physical way that Dwayne is going to hang on to that belt because he's not a long-term solution. He would just be coming in to do a 4-month shot, right?
Yeah.
He's not staying with the WWE for the next 5 years, and so he's going to be your title holder. He's gone. So you know he's going to lose. So it would ruin that story if it has a belt because you'd be more focused on the championship than on the battle. So I think you have him lose to Cody if he's ready to go at the Rumble. If he's ready, if he's not ready to go at the Rumble, then I think you got to play with it a little bit. But I think you lose to Cody. You have him have Cody beat him at the Rumble, and then I think you have him head in from the Rumble to WrestleMania. You do a 4-month shot with him and The Rock. So
yeah, my only fear behind that is if they do it, he's not ready at the Rumble, and then they do the title change too quickly. That then they don't have much time to build it for The Rock and Roman, but we'll see.
I hope they don't get caught up in where they do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yep,
like
me too.
I don't think Triple H is going to get caught up in where they drop the title. And if you're not a wrestling fan, what I mean by that is not like place. I mean the pay-per-view
event.
So if you're Vince McMahon, right, you're not going to take a 2.5-year storyline where Roman has had the title for 700 or 800 days. And then you're going to drop the title at Fastlane, right?
Yeah.
Vince would never do that. Vince would never drop the title at one of those secondary pay-per-views. Triple H, I think, would drop the title where it makes sense, which gives it more ambiguity and it makes it a little more mysterious.
Makes you want to tune in.
I think Triple H absolutely will do that. So
yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, so let me give you a chance. Do you have any questions for us before we get into Hollitivity's segment? Good to go?
I'm good, man.
All right.
I'm good to go.
Holly, we're going to give you the floor so that Bert can rest his voice for a second and see who you've got spotlighted this week.
Okay, so I was, scrolling through Twitter this past week, and I came across a post that I really loved. It was the quote that he posted specifically that I was like, okay, this is a really good one. And the person happens to be Jared from Glow. First off, Jared is the VP of Education. He is so smart. But I also got the opportunity to meet Jared in person when we had went to Utah. And that just made me like him that much more. He is very fun to be around. He's quirky and he's overall just a really good guy. And so when I came across this one, I was like, yeah, this is the one. So what he posted, and this was on Tuesday, is he said, "Happy Tuesday, everyone. A big shout out to the community and supporters for believing in us and supporting our mission. Once we complete our goals, the world can shine a little brighter." And then what the quote he posted was, "Work hard for what you want because it won't come without a fight. You have to be strong and courageous and know that you can do anything you put your mind to. If somebody puts you down or criticizes you, just keep believing in yourself and turn it into something positive." And, we have enough of the criticizing and all of that, especially around Twitter. And I just feel like more people need to see this and more people need to understand that, just because one person may say something about you, it doesn't mean it's true. And you do got to fight. You got to fight every single day to be the person you are and to be positive and, just in a very, very negative world, I should say. So thank you so much to Jared. He's awesome. He was surprised when I reached out to him and said, "Hey, can I use this post for my HOLLITIVITY?" And he was like, "Of course." And he was like, "Well, it's not my quote anyway." And I said, "But you posted it and I want to highlight you." And he goes, "Oh, damn. Well, thank you." Right
on.
He's amazing. He is one of my favorite people. And, I just am so proud to be part of, Glow, regardless what my role is there. I love the Glow team and I think they're awesome.
Yeah, they are a top-notch team for sure. There are more and more of those as we're getting to get to know them, whether it be through Twitter or through things like or Spaces or this podcast, that I'm like, yeah, this is what I was hoping for, that these people were genuine and that they do care and they do have hearts. And I don't want to rank the teams, but Glow's got to be one of my favorites when it comes to just being genuine and just putting themselves out there. And I'll tell you something real fast that we just learned within the last couple of days, because we're slow sometimes, that we didn't know that they had a lottery. And because somebody posted that they won 100 BUSD, or they got 100 BUSD and they didn't know how, and somebody said, well, maybe you won it from Glow. And so I kind of went down that rabbit hole, and I guess they do that daily. Did you win?
Right, it's a daily lottery. So
yeah, I didn't even know that.
I did.
Yeah.
Win. I didn't know. I did win. I opened up my wallet at one point.
You won?
I did. I opened up my wallet and I think it was them. I'm assuming it was Glow, but I tried to check back the contract. I think it's Glow, but I looked and I'm like, why do I have 100 BUSD? I'm getting some really good reflections. And I thought, I'm like,
not in this market. Yeah.
and then it clicked. I'm like, wait, maybe it's the Glow lottery. And I'm like, there you go. So, yeah, no, I posted that.
Wow.
And I believe the only thing you have to do is hold Glow. Is there a certain amount?
$20, at least $20 for that.
Okay.
Or if you hold more than $50, you are actually entered in their $10,000 drawing. There's like a threshold it needs to get to, or there's something along those lines but once it gets there, you can actually win $10,000 if you hold $50 or more.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well,
that is very awesome from them to do that. So everybody, hopefully after this podcast, is going to go check their balance of Glow.
Right.
Buy Glow tokens.
Yeah. Everybody's got to have at least $50 now.
Oh,
so.
wait. I just got a trust wallet notification.
Greg's going to check his now. So.
I won.
Well,
I didn't even know. It just came up. It just showed up in my wallet. So.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But
Awesome.
that is awesome. I mean, just think about just the average person waking up one day going, wait, I have $100. Like, where'd that come from? You wouldn't turn that down on somebody knocked on your door and go, "Hey, you want a $100 bill?" Nah, I'm good. You know, that's not gonna happen.
Right.
I mean,
So
maybe.
that is awesome. But so, Greg, I think it is about that time.
All right. Well, here we go.
It's time for Caleb's choice.
His choice.
His rules. All right.
All right. My first question today is a two-part question.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That-
So,
Oh, no.
if you're going to be a teacher, what grade would you want to teach, or what subject? And then, what fictional school would you want to teach at?
Fictional school?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
huh.
This
Cool.
You got to go first. You asked that kind of question. You got to give us your answer so we have
Yeah.
time to think.
Okay. I would be a science teacher, and I like to teach at the Hickory High School from Hoosiers,
Oh,
1950s.
look at that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Normandale, baby.
Yeah.
Normandale.
Normandale,
Let's
yep. One of my favorite movies.
Who wants to go next?
I'll go.
Okay.
Look, I don't really care what grade I would teach, but that's easy. I'm a big time, like I said, I may like sports, but I'm a big time nerd. I know you guys, a lot of you guys know that. I would definitely be a teacher at Hogwarts, 1,000,000%.
There you go.
Hogwarts.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Holly, you got one?
That's something else.
Sheesh. So fun Holly fact, I actually used to be a teacher.
Oh.
Ah.
Yeah.
let's go.
I
Yeah.
taught, yes, I taught preschool and kindergarten, and I can tell you that I love the children, but it's not my jam. Not my jam. So oddly enough, I bailed and went into the tech world. So I think if I had to do it again, maybe like 7th or 8th grade English.
Okay.
I really like English. And the school I
Blockchain.
went to, it would probably be a Tinkerbell movie, but they actually have to all go to school to figure out what their gift is to be a fairy. And so, like, I don't know, some school, I don't know what it's called, but I would love to figure out what my, fairy gift would be. And Tinkerbell is called Tinkerbell because her gift was to be a tinker. Like,
Okay.
she
There's
was.
literally no better fit in the world than
Yeah,
that, right?
yep.
there. Like,
Yeah.
that's like the biggest fit in the world, I think. Absolutely. So,
So
That's
you
awesome.
got one?
No, you got one.
Yeah, I really don't.
Yeah, you do.
I would teach. You said age?
Well, yeah, subject or age or.
Oh, hell, I gave you all of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
good.
my-
So
More
I-
info, better.
don't have any. I would guess high school because I coach high school girls basketball, and they actually do what I ask. And kindergartners don't always do what I ask. And I can only imagine at my age having to chase 40 kindergartners around all over the place.
That'd be hilarious.
But fictional school,
Yeah.
I have no idea. I'm such drawing a blank on this. I don't know. Do you have one?
no, well, not a fictional school. I would teach high school math.
I can
just
see
because
that.
I like math,
nice.
and I get along with the teenagers. So,
There you go.
but fictional school, if I had to pick one,
I can't even think of one.
I don't know. Maybe Billy Madison
Okay.
with Veronica.
Yes.
I'd teach with Veronica.
Veronica.
I'd
Go
teach
teach at
some kids.
Bayside. Go say you want to go teach
Bayside,
at
there
Bayside.
you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Bayside.
Go teach that. Go
See,
teach
now
that.
all of a sudden I'm starting to get all these movies and TV show high schools rolling in my head.
That's a
so.
legit thing, though, Josh. That's a legit thing because, man, honestly, like as a football coach myself, like, teaching youth sports for a long time was fun.
Yeah.
And I love doing that. But teaching, kind of coaching older kids, you get to physically see, you say something and they do something.
Yeah.
Right. And it's some version of what you asked for rather than not anything close. Right. So I really, really, really enjoy that aspect of coaching and, teaching, I'm sure is the same. I was the same, Holly, back in the day I taught preschool for like 2 years or whatever and stuff is like a little thing. So I've done a lot. Like, I know we didn't cover a lot of that stuff on the podcast, but
Yeah.
I kind of look back on all these things. And when people ask, I'm like, man, I've done a lot of stuff, dude. Like,
Right. That's
I have
what
done a lot of shit in my life.
Yeah.
It's crazy when I start thinking about it.
Yeah.
So
And touching on that, Bert, too, with coaching, too, I think the difference for me when it comes to that age group, Greg's trying to cheat.
Yeah.
That age group is the fact that you can teach so much stuff to these kids outside of the sport and life lessons. One of the things that I just brought up that I told the kids is don't ever let anybody tell you you're not beautiful. And of course, I coach girls, and I tell them I love them all the time. Right. And it was easy for me to do that because when I first started, I had a daughter in that class, so I knew these girls outside. But
Same.
It's become one of those deals where now they know that there truly is love there. And one of our mottos is being a family all the time. And that doesn't mean it's always easy. So I can teach them things about how people should treat you. And if somebody is just completely just trying to throw you under the bus or negative thoughts all the time, walk away from that person. And that's what I tell them. If you have people in your life that are telling you you're not beautiful, you tell them to come talk to me. And that hasn't happened yet, but so I'm not sure I'll respond to that.
but it's why I coach, man. I mean, obviously I coach because everybody knows I have 3 kids. I have a 21-year-old, and then I have twin 14-year-olds. And so part of that is just to give them the best experience possible.
Yep.
And they're both super athletes and stuff. So I'm trying to give them every opportunity that they can to get a scholarship and go do some of the things that I wasn't able to do. And so beyond that, it's getting the chance to connect with and change the lives of young athletes, right? I coach girls and boys, and it is, for me, the opportunity. I always tell the kids one thing. I said, just get this much better every day. That's it. If you just get this much better every single day, it's a good day. And so for me, if I have one thing or one kid or one single moment that it affected them and helped, then I did my job. And it's why I love doing this. It's why I've done it in some fashion, version or another, for the last 20 plus years. And I absolutely love coaching. I love affecting young people's lives. And then I like seeing hard work played out directly, like the results, right? I like seeing an instant return on investment, right? You do something during the week, you put in all the investment during the week, and you get that ROI back at the end of the week when you play a game. And so I love that lesson and seeing what it does to those young men. It's one of my favorite things in the world. So.
Yeah, I have coaches ask me all the time, it's like, I don't understand, how does this work? How do you make this? How do you get them to do that? And I was like, the first thing I do is I don't worry about wins and losses. I hate to lose more than anybody I know. Larry Bird put it best. I hate to lose more than I like to win. And that's me. But at the end of the day, it's about relationships. And what I've told these coaches is if you can get that relationship and you can build that trust, they will do anything that you ask because they know you have their best interests at heart, and the wins will come. But it doesn't start that way. And if you are just hounding about wins and losses and you are that dictator person, you will find yourself, one, probably burned out, but two, the kids will quit on you. And once that happens, it's over,
And Josh, I do the same thing. I share that same thing with them every day, and I'm not trying to jump the gun here or anything.
No.
It's for me, like personally, like, just in my history, coming from where, I came from and doing what I did, and stuff, and kind of my background and being able to kind of move up the way I did, which is incredibly unorthodox, right? It's not the normal trajectory of any career. But the reason I was able to do that, or the reason I've always been able to do that, is my relationships, right? I'm a relationship guy. Look, I have faults like everybody else. I've done whack ass shit, and I have a past just like everybody does. And I am very honest about that. I mean, if you guys wanted to get deep into who I am, I have no problems talking about any of those things. I do it all the time. For me, it's when I, boil it all the way down to its essential quality, it's relationships. It's building relationships with other people and fostering those relationships as much as you possibly can, growing those relationships, trusting in those relationships, believing in those relationships, really leveraging those relationships. And I think we lose that aspect a lot. They're my friend, I don't want to, whatever. And it's like, I say this all the time. It's like, if that would have been the guys at BBTF, Don wouldn't have created that company. That's a bunch of his friends that he's working with. And so if you had that feeling that, I'm I don't want to ask a friend, or I don't want to see if I can do this with them because that's stepping a boundary, and stuff. No, man, work with your friends, build those relationships, create those true, long lasting, meaningful interactions with other humans.
Yep.
That you can then turn and leverage for support, for friendship, for companionship, for an ear, for whatever you need, and they can leverage you for the exact same thing. And when you are leveraging each other for those things, even if it's something as simple as I don't want to be alone, I just want to have somebody to talk to on a space, and that's my friend. Like, that's what community is. That's where the community word, that's what it really is. And one of the things we've been able to do really good here in SafeMoon is building that community. I said it all the time, like I'm incredibly humbled to be able to sit there however long ago. I mean, Holly was there, but when I said it a million times, I want that. I'm trying to find my place in this industry, and I'm trying to figure out where I fit in. And I know what I'm doing now is not what I want to do forever. I know that that I feel, the passion, the fire that I get when I talk about crypto, and that's what I want to do. And I want to leverage that for the rest of my life. I want to be talking to people and enjoying to my time and working in that space because it's what I'm passionate about. And I'm not Crypto James. I'm not a blockchain expert. I'm not any of that stuff. I'm not Don. I can't tell you the inner workings of how the reflections or rewards work, or I don't have that mindset, but I have a ton of projects that I'm thinking about. I have a ton of really cool ideas that I have there because that's my personality. I can talk really cogently about that ideas, and then I can get extremely passionate and communicate that passion to other humans. That's a skill. And it took me a while to really understand that and say, hey man, that's where you fit, and that's where you fit. Let's get it.
Yep.
And so I'm incredibly humbled just at the possibility to be able to work with a company like Mirror Protocol and to do those kind of things, and to have the opportunity to work with those guys and to do that and to be part of the BBTF ecosystem. It all comes from relationships. It comes from me reaching out to Gotti in a DM 7-8 months ago and just saying, hey bro, I'm really stoked for everything that you've done. I love everything you're doing right now with the other company that he was working with at the time, and I really believe in you guys and all that kind of stuff, and you and I just wanted to let you know that. And that was it. It was something along those lines. And then down the road, I probably sent him another email, and then all of a sudden he says, hey man, you want to come with me and do this other thing? And I said, sure, let's go do that. And I did that for a little while, and then he got pulled away to do Mirror Protocol. And so it's the relationships that you built with somebody. It's being able to get into that space and just talk to anybody like your friends, and it doesn't matter who you are or where you've come from or any of those things. So when I share my experience, with people that I coach or kids that I coach, young men, young women, I really try to hammer home the point. It is all about the relationships that we build. That's where your magic really happens, because that community is really going to carry you to the next level.
Well, I can tell with your passion, if I was one of your players, I'd run through a brick wall for you. So, yeah, that's awesome. Bert, I have no doubt that whatever you're going to do, you're going to be successful in it. No doubt whatsoever.
Thanks, Josh. I appreciate that, man.
All right, my second question is a little easier.
Okay, good.
Thank God.
Yeah. What's your go-to late night snack?
It's easy.
Oh.
What's yours?
Yeah.
This is a glass of sweet tea and popcorn.
Okay.
That's where I go.
Josh?
Bowl of cereal.
Bowl of cereal?
What kind of cereal?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
I mean, it kind of matters, but we always have 4 or 5 different kinds of boxes because my family can't ever decide what they really like. So I'll find something in there.
Go to, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
When things are bad, it's the secret stash of nutty bars in the freezer.
Ooh,
that's
nutty
hiding
bars.
from the children.
There we go.
Those are
Secret
mine.
stash. I like that.
Yeah, you got to
idea.
hide them back in the freezer so the kids can't see them or they'll be gone.
Bert, Holly, what about you guys?
Yeah, I'm easy. I'm Sour Patch Kids.
Ooh.
So number one, and like I said, bro, I'm a late night gamer, dude. So I'm Sour Patch Kids and Monster.
Okay.
Oh.
There you go.
I know it sounds counterintuitive to say for a late night snack, but that's my snack, bro.
That's where you get all your energy.
Yes.
Guys,
Sugar.
I go through about 10 of these a day.
Oh,
10
wow.
Oh my gosh, Bert.
Wow.
10
Favorite.
monsters a day. So I live on Monsters and Sour Patch Kids. That's my
Wow.
life.
Woo.
So
Wow.
I'm kidding. I'm joking. But
No.
I'm gonna pray for you, Bert.
I just go through a lot.
Your
I
heart's
like
gonna need some help.
I know. My heart just.
I have toast, peanut butter, and bananas on it.
Ooh.
That's my. I
That's
love
good.
it.
I like
I
that.
love peanut butter and bananas. Just are so good together on toast. Oh, it's delicious.
Toasted.
Wasn't that Elvis's
Good.
It was
Fries,
favorite
yeah.
snack?
Oh.
Okay, yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peanut butter and
Oh
bananas.
shit! I had no idea. Hell, but I love Elvis. I mean, I love his music though.
Any day now.
It is
Holly's
good.
gonna be in that white jumpsuit any day now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, there you
Right, right.
Yeah,
Maybe for Halloween. There you
Little hound
go.
dog.
There you go.
Little hound dog, dude.
go. All right, my last one brings back the wrestling side of things.
Okay.
There we go.
Which wrestling character best describes you in real life?
Holly, do you have an answer for this whatsoever? Because
I
I
mean-
already know who your character should be.
Oh yeah.
But go ahead. Do you have one?
Oh, okay.
I have no idea. I mean, I don't. I'm trying to think of like my show, the show I watch.
Mhm.
I mean, and out of the two girls, I think I'm more like Nikki Bella.
Nikki, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because she's just kind of the more outgoing type, and I feel like Bree is more of the like nature, and and I love nature and all that good stuff, but I'm more of a city girl, and so I don't know. I guess.
I like it. Nikki Bella, baby. Nikki
Nikki
Bella.
Bella.
She's
Nikki
awesome.
Bella.
What is she, like a 6-time tag team champion? And tag
Right?
team champion?
Yeah,
Let's
she
go.
is.
Yeah.
Big time player.
See, when I think of that, Holly, I just have to tell you, you'll look it up later. But they're Bailey, when she was
Correct.
face with the inflatable, whatever
Yeah,
those things
the
were
hug,
called,
yeah.
and
Oh,
that,
the
Giving out hugs.
yeah,
and-
yeah, the hugger. That's
Who?
just her name's Bailey.
Bailey.
You just
Bailey. Okay.
You have to check it out. Right now, she's
But
a bad
it's early
guy.
Bailey, not current Bailey.
Yeah.
Current Bailey is kind of a Karen.
Yeah.
So like a Karen. But old Bailey used to
All right,
come
I wrote
out
her
with
down.
the side ponytail
Yeah.
and all the
Yeah.
bright colors,
Yeah.
and she had the big inflatables.
Yep, that's
Hug everybody.
I think of
Super
Holly when I think
positive.
of
There
that.
you
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
No,
about?
yeah, I can totally. I have pictures of when I was in high school. I used to wear pigtails all the time. So
There it
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
I can see
there you
that.
go.
There it is.
Bert, what about you, man?
Yeah, so that's a tough question, man, for me. I mean, I know who I always identify with, and it's always going to be Phil's always going to be CM Punk, so it's number
Okay.
one first and foremost.
Yeah.
That's always who I identify with, 100%. Not so much the lifestyle, right? I'm definitely not straight edge, so I'm definitely not straight edge. And I'm definitely, I mean, I like punk and I like all that kind of stuff, like rock and everything, but it's not so much the punk lifestyle. It was more the ability to work outside the establishment and do your own thing.
Yep.
And it took me a long time to realize, like, as much as I like to fit in, and I do, I like to fit in, I like working in teams and other people. I'm not a big solo guy all the time, but as much as I like to do that, it's and fit in, I like to have my own voice, and I'm very much my own voice kind of guy. I just do it in a different way than everybody else. I do it without offending everybody. I do it without pissing everybody off by saying it's my way or the highway. I'm always inclusive of everybody, or I try to be, and as much as I can. I know is a little counterintuitive to what we do on Twitter, or at least what I do on Twitter sometimes, or was doing on Twitter. I very much was a positive guy, and if you were outside of that, again, I said this from the beginning. My social media was my social media. It's my social media. It's not yours. It's not anyone else's. I get to do what I want with my social media. So if I don't want to, see stuff on my social media that I don't like, then I'm going to block that person and I'm going to move on. And I'm not going to say anything negative. Doesn't mean I hate you. It doesn't mean anything. It just means the headspace that you're in right now, I don't want to see it. I'll mute people sometimes instead, and all that stuff too. But in the end, I understand that that's not the way everybody does stuff. I don't get in your face and push my point of view. I will simply state my point of view with a lot of passion and a lot of fire and a lot of things behind it. And I will go on for 22 minutes talking sometimes, but I'm never going to do so in a negative fashion and try to anger anybody or frustrate somebody on purpose or any of those kind of things. So I think it's a little different than the way everybody else does it, but it took me a while to kind of find that. So that's why, like I say, I always end up like he's always been one of my favorite characters from forever, from back in his Ring of Honor days. And then when he got to WWE and all that, it was, you know, he was a whole nother level. So like I said, CM Punk definitely is one.
Do you know?
Yeah. Oh,
All
yeah.
right, go ahead.
I would be the Miz, man.
The Miz.
Let's go. The Miz.
Oh yeah, that would totally
Yes.
be my personality. He's always joking around, and I'm always joking around. And that gets you into trouble. Yeah, that's me right there.
Oh, that's a good one.
Hey, there is a guy that literally put his foot in the ground and said, he drew a line and said, I am not giving up.
Yep.
I'm not going to go anywhere. He knew he wanted to be a wrestler from when he was early on, and Mike did so much stuff to try to facilitate that. Obviously, back in the Real World and all those things. You watch the old Real World stuff. He was the Miz back there also, and
Right.
so
Same guy.
He always believed he was going to do it. And when he finally got to WWE, it definitely did not go as he had planned, and it was very, very, very difficult for him. Very difficult for him to get pogoed, what they call it, you know, where you're up and down, and go up all the way to the top, and then you get slammed down within the next few months or whatever. So very tough life that he had. He persevered, and now look at him. You know, he's a $1 million man. Everything he touches is gold. He's going to be a huge action star coming up in the next 5 years. So I'm super stoked. I love that story. If that to me is a rags to riches story like nothing else. Somebody that went after their dream, got it, and then when it almost got taken away, he refused to let that happen and hung on to it. So it's an awesome story.
Yep.
What about you?
I was trying to think of somebody that's not flashy and doesn't talk a lot, because I don't do that. So I was thinking WCW Goldberg. Basically got in, got out.
Yeah, but can bring the hammer.
As hot could be, bad. If you want to know what the term OVA, if you want to know what the term OVA is, just go look at 97, 98 Goldberg. You'll see over. So
I think
that is as over as anyone has ever been in the history of wrestling.
True.
No kidding. I think for me, this is going to sound really weird, but Dude Love. Because I always say a bunch of just stuff just to try to make people laugh, and that dude has like more confidence than he should have. And for whatever reason, I've always been that way too. Like, and he doesn't care what anybody thinks about him. I mean, he's just this like weird guy that thinks he's like some ladies man or whatever, and that doesn't really go with me, but I just never really cared what anybody thought, and I just, you know, he's just kind of out there and funny, and that's who I would relate with.
Okay, that's
Mick
good.
is one of the greatest characters of all time, man. Mick is one of the greatest characters of all time. There's literally nobody better, dude. Like what Mick was able to do, obviously with Cactus Jack back in the New Japan days, or the All Japan days, and the death matches and all that. You know, the Nesty splash off the ring apron onto the floor, all those things, all the way through to Dude Love and Mankind, and it just, man, rock and sock. I mean, one of the most versatile and phenomenal performers that has ever graced a wrestling ring. I mean, he was the definition of a good talker. Without just being a good talker, he did the whole Bray Wyatt stuff before Bray really did it, right? Talking in the deep, kind of weird, dark tones and stuff, similar to the Undertaker, but without the supernatural side, just the pure vision of Mrs. Foley's little boy.
That's perfect.
That is
awesome.
Perfect.
It was he was awesome, just watching him in the dark in that Mankind mask and just breaking down, talking about Mrs. Foley's little boy. And I went up to the roof and they told me to jump, and I jumped, and I liked it. And all that stuff was so good, dude. It was just so good. It was next level. It was next level for a 20-something teenage whatever I was at that time watching that. I was just like, oh my God, this guy is awesome. It's this fat, not good looking, weird guy in a mask, and he's murdering it, baby. Let's go.
And he made you care about him. It was so weird.
100%. All you got to do is what wrestling's all about. If you care about him, it doesn't matter. That's why The Rock could go out and do something today, and Stone Cold could do something, and Chris Jericho can do something. They all can do something. Why? because there was an emotional connection
Yep.
to the character.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
That's actually how we came up with our name. As we were watching Raw in Kansas City, as we were talking about what this looked like, what we were going to do, and Matt Riddle's music hit, and it just went,
bro.
Yeah, bro.
and that's we were like,
Bro.
we all looked at each other, Crypto Bros. Let's just go with it.
Yeah.
Perfect,
So
dude.
that's what we started with. So
Yeah.
That is so perfect, dude. That is
Holly,
so perfect.
your question.
Ah.
Okay. Mine's kind of funny. If animals can talk, which one would be the rudest?
The rudest?
Yes.
It's got to be a house cat.
Oh my gosh, that's my answer.
I was thinking the
It
same
has to be. They
thing.
don't care anything
I was-
about us
that's
whatsoever.
true.
They're just like, rah.
100%.
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing.
Does anybody
That's
have a
a-
different
that is
answer
the
than house
first
cat?
I would say the same thing. House cat. for
Yeah, I
sure.
think a cat's probably the best.
Any
one.
animal, huh? Honey
Yeah,
badger.
any animal.
Honey badger.
Honey
Honey
badger.
badger doesn't give a shit.
Yeah,
that's
Doesn't
right.
give a
Yes.
That's right.
Favorite
Yeah.
birthday card.
I
Happy
love
birthday,
that
honey
video.
badger. Don't
It's
care.
hilarious.
When I see people, I'm like, yep, there's a honey badger.
Yeah,
Yep, that one,
Yeah.
yep. He don't give a shit.
that's hilarious. Well, I think that brings us to the taste test time. So
Oh no!
I'll let you
Bert.
guys go ahead and open that up. I should have broke the seal on
Let's
this
go.
one.
All right.
Oh my
Oh
god!
my God. Come on, yo. I hate pickle.
Candy?
You hate pickles? Uh-oh.
So
Oh
it's
my
pickle
God. All right,
flavor
let's
cotton
do it.
candy.
Let's do it.
Oh my!
Oh, it smells horrible.
Oh.
Like,
Oh, that
Oh
smells
my
great.
god! I think mine's rotten. It doesn't taste. It doesn't smell like a pickle.
it doesn't. It smells like rotten pickles.
Oh, give me
Yeah,
a big
it's-
old piece.
All right.
Yeah, Greg likes
I
pickles.
love
Delicious.
pickles, but this is gross.
There we
Oh,
go.
that really smells bad. Like, that's one
Oh,
of the
it's
worst
so
smelling
bad.
things.
Smells like sawdust and death.
Yeah,
Doesn't
it's
it
really
Saw
bad.
that.
I keep
Oh,
smelling
no, it
it
doesn't
'cause I'm
expire
like,
for
maybe
another
it'll-
year.
I know. I keep doing
Maybe
the
it'll
same
get
thing.
better if you sniff it enough.
All right.
Cheers.
There we go.
Cheers.
Cheers. Here we go.
Mmm.
Oh, that is bad. This is really, really bad.
Oh my gosh.
It's not,
That's
yeah.
the worst thing we've had.
You're right. That's not bad.
No, I don't have anything to drink. I drank all my drink.
I did too.
Mine's almost got you. Oh, that's bad. The aftertaste is horrid.
That is the worst thing we've
Give me
eaten.
some more.
You can have all
Greg
of it,
wants
Greg.
it.
It is in my teeth. bro.
Yeah, that's bad.
Really? That bad?
Greg
Ugh.
That's
wants it.
really bad. Whose idea was
Greg
this?
wants
This
yours.
shit is in my teeth, dude. I
Yeah.
can't get this out. It's stuck in my teeth. Man, that's gross, dude.
That is
You are
horrible.
you are some sort of different level human if
Well,
you're
I
going to
like
eat
pickles.
more of
That
that
is
stuff.
gnarly, dude.
That's
No,
bad.
Wait,
but-
Greg's eating it?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
wants yours if you want to send it back.
So-
Oh my god, dude! I've smelled some truly awful things from my time at NASA in the life sciences department. That is worse.
I didn't
Hey,
think
Greg's
it was
eating
too
it.
bad.
I wouldn't.
That's horrible.
That is
I
bad.
didn't think it would be that bad. I just thought it'd be cotton candy, kind of taste like pickles. So it was actually my idea, and I apologize to every single one of you because that was horrible.
No, it was
Oh my
bad.
god,
Like-
that was bad.
Like sugar.
That probably was worse than the Bean Boozle ones that I had.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was for me.
I'm right there with
Yeah.
you, Josh. That was really, really bad.
Yeah.
So you guys can try it out there watching this podcast, but I do not recommend it whatsoever.
No.
Not recommended.
Yeah,
at
like
all.
very,
pickles?
very gross.
Yeah.
If you like pickles,
I mean,
You can find it on
but-
Amazon.
Thank you.
Greg likes it.
I think it's good.
When I first opened it, I saw the top here and how I was like, oh, maybe it's mint. Like, you know those mints?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no.
It does look like a mint.
No.
It's
Like a
not-
pickle mint.
But that doesn't
Oh,
taste like
well,
pickles.
I mean, Greg, no, it's not like, it doesn't taste like mint
Greg,
at all.
you're gross.
It's a pickle
It
man.
was a
Oh,
bad
it's
Right?
idea.
dreaming of a pickle
Yeah.
mint.
Very,
Look at
very,
it.
very
It's fine.
bummed that I went on this today. That just absolutely ruined my day just now. So
Uh-oh.
I have to go.
Surprise.
That's why we save it for the end.
It is
I have to
stuck
go
in my
back
teeth
and
though.
do all this stuff. This is like ruining me and all this kind of stuff. But
Well, have fun with lunch.
yeah, not happening.
Well,
That
that
was
is all we have scheduled for today. Does anybody else have anything that they want to talk about, ask, or anything like that before we sign off?
No, I just want to say, Bert, thank you so much. I had this feeling that you were going to be like, yes, of course. So I was like, so excited when you actually did say yes. I know a lot of people get a little timid because it's on video, and so I'm so happy that we're on here. You're just one of my favorites. Obviously, we have our own hashtag, you guys. We're
I know, I
hollers.
saw that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, Bert is the most like me on Twitter, and I appreciate you so much.
Same, Holly.
Yeah, Bert, I got to tell you, man, that kind of seeing things, we were on Twitter, but we stayed in the background for many months. Just our personalities, especially Caleb and I, are to lay back and listen and just kind of see what's going on before we engage. That's just how we've always been. And a wrestling post on your Twitter account is what first caught my eye, because nobody in DeFi talks about wrestling, and it's like, So then I kept seeing different things. Then I would be in spaces and hear you talk and things like that. I knew we would get along, but dude, sometime in the future, we got to get together. We got to have a meal, because that conversation would be aces in my book. So I can't thank you enough for coming on. For the record, I think you might have the longest podcast to date so far.
Yes.
I don't know. I can't really see it, but I think we're at like an hour and 43 minutes.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's much to be edited out of it. So you're probably going to hold the record for a while. No, man. It was genuine conversation. That's what we look for. We really appreciate you having on. So.
Well, guys, I just want to say real quick, thank you guys for having me on. Absolutely love what you guys are doing in the space. Holly is super special to me. She's one of the best people on Twitter. It pisses me off more than life itself when people attack her and other people that are just truly trying to be positive.
Yep.
It takes everything in my, power not to say stuff to people and everything like that. So I absolutely adore Holly, and I just love what she stands for on Twitter. And we've been on here tight for a while and stuff. So I'm super excited that we finally get to talk in person on here. I wish we would have got to meet in person, but I couldn't make it out there. I know it's on me, but soon we will do that. Guys, my whole thing here is, I would tell anyone watching that if you're someone that's looking to make a difference in this space, if you have an idea, if you have something, go talk about it to somebody. Go and share it with another person in a space or privately or whatever, and try to get something going together. In the end, it's about the relationships we build. I started from humble beginnings. I started in food service and hospitality and worked my way up to the government sector and in tech and esports and gaming and other stuff that I've had the pleasure to do. And in the end, it's all been about the people I meet and shaking hands with somebody and trying to be as honest as I possibly can about who I am and what I did and all those things. And so I think if we can all do that, I think good things are going to happen for everybody in this space in the future. And for you guys, I keep doing everything you're doing. Keep providing a different vision or a different voice, than we get on Twitter. Another outlet for people to get off Twitter and go look at something else. And see other communities and see other things, which I think is super, super important for everybody. And the last thing I would say is, everybody, buckle up. Things are in DeFi or this industry are about to get really, really fun.
Yeah, let's go.
I can't provide any details on anything other than, the community member that I am, like everybody else. And even I can say with 100% certainty that what we have coming in BBTF and the Mir protocol and SafeMoon it's going to be next level. And I don't think people really understand what companies like Grove and Glow and SafeMoon, Crift and Live Crypto Party and all these other companies are really trying to do and plan. And I'm sorry for missing.
I always hate if I forget one, but I'm right there with you. Yeah.
But it's coming. And it's coming really, really soon.
Yeah.
And you guys are all going to be so excited that you were a part of this journey. And so if you're somebody that wants to get more involved, do it and come and talk and let's go, man. Things are about to be so much fun in DeFi. I absolutely am so excited for the next year and where we're going to go. So.
Yeah, we're still early and people forget that. So let's go,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, guys, once again, thank you for the time, and have a great weekend, and God bless.
Yeah.
Be kind.
Bye.